Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Royal News Network Saturday morning live stream. I hope you guys are all having a super fantastic and amazing Saturday. There is a decent amount to discuss. I mean, I feel like everything sometimes happens right on Friday or something. But this week we did have Catherine, the Princess of Wales, doing another engagement. So we actually had two engagements technically three, 2 days from her this week, although they have been very cautious. The palace has been very cautious to say that this is not going to be a trend, that she's still finding her feet. So I hope we see her a couple more times in February, but I'm really glad that we're not getting these huge long stretches. I think that would be perhaps a bit problematic. We also have Harry and Meghan being mocked by Hollywood yet again in front of Netflix bosses. So I think everybody in Hollywood is very aware of the fact that they way overspent on Harry and Meghan, and it's sort of like I feel like Netflix is in the process of being humiliated a bit. And I feel like they're rightly so in some ways, because I'm like, you guys gave these people or sent these people to a $100 million contract. Why? They haven't done anything. So I feel like Hollywood is really feeling that now, because this was John Mulaney. I did a whole video on that. We also have Meghan's friend, Abigail Spencer. And I almost did a video on this yesterday, but guys, I was working really hard on a video that had started earlier, kind of the do's and don'ts of royal fashion after the death of Queen Elizabeth, because we have seen some changes. Some of it is sort of my personal perception on things, but most of it is like the kind of the firm rules. Because I was looking online and there's not really, I would say, new everything's still Queen Elizabeth era. So I don't feel like we're seeing a bunch of new changes. Sorry, I'm going to move this just in case don't want it to fall into my drink. And then we have but we do also have Meghan's friend, Abigail Spencer, saying that we're going to find the real Meghan. So I do kind of want to do a video on this, because I feel like this is important to discuss. When somebody tells you, oh, you're going to finally see the real Meghan, I was like, well, what is the Meghan we've been seeing for the last 7, 8, 9 years now? Was that all a lie? Because you can't say those kind of things without being able to back them up. Well, we've seen Meghan a lot. We know the real Meghan quite a bit now. Anyways, so I digress, but that's something to keep in mind as well. They've had the Invictus Games too, paying more we have Chris Martin now playing at the Invictus Games. And I just can't help but think, I'm like, is the Invictus Games a concert or a sporting event? I'm not really sure anymore, to be quite honest, because this is definitely not what I remember when I went to the Invictus Games in 2016. There was like one or two musical guests. Most of the rest of it was about the veterans, which was great. But I feel like the opening ceremony is going to be just a concert. And so it's like, okay, so what was the point of this event again? And how much money are they spending on these people? Katy Perry, Chris Martin. I would imagine both of those are not cheap. Yeah, I think Jelly Rolls at the end or whatever. I can't remember. Anyways, I feel like they're just throwing money down the drain at this point, trying to make this thing in the Olympics. And it just doesn't have broad appeal. It just doesn't. And you get a whole bunch of people in the stands there who are just there for the wrong concert, don't give two craps about the veterans. And if you spend too much time on the veterans and they came there for the rock concert, they're going to be mad. So it's like, this is like they're setting themselves up for the lose-lose scenario. My goodness. Anyways, so let's go ahead. We do have some super chats here already. Diana says, hi, Brittany. Can I ask a question? Why do you think Meghan went from being just Meghan, squats, ripped jeans, and titles, to not being able to say the B word? Meghan is, it's just, yeah, it's just hard. Well, I feel like that all kind of does come together. And I don't think there's anything too contradictory about all those things. But Meghan is exceedingly contrived. She's exceedingly contrived, exceedingly controlling, exceedingly so unbelievably obsessed with her image, and not in a healthy way. I will say 100% not in a healthy way. So she is so trying to create the image that she wants, that she sort of, I don't want to say loses out, but she can't bring herself to do some things because, oh, it'll go too hard. Oh, it'll mess with the perfect image she's contrived of herself. That's always her. And so she doesn't mind the squats because, oh, she was playing with Ellen, and Ellen's popular and Ellen's famous, and isn't that great? I'm having this fun time with Ellen. So that's what she sort of thinks in her mind, even though obviously it was actually very undignified and unbelievably dumb, because she looked foolish because she was allowing herself to be led. But Ellen's the Hollywood elite, and Meghan has always been obsessed with the Hollywood elite and wanting to be one of them. That's like her whole life's goal is to be that. So she's willing to fall by her sword and do anything to achieve that. But then it comes to titles. She wants the title. She wants to be above them in a way. And then she won't say the B word either because she thought, oh, maybe that's too harsh. Maybe that's too sad. Maybe that wrecks the perfect image I have of myself. So you always just have to look at Meghan as just an incredibly contrived, inauthentic person who is unable to be her real self because she wants you to think, because this is a perception too. So Meghan's very vain, vapid, and shallow. Said this a lot. That is the baseline of who she is. But she wants you to think she's deeper than that. So she's not saying the B word because she probably won't thinks that, oh, it might be too, it might bring me down or something or not elevate me. So you just have to look at Meghan as this really weird mix of contrivance and so many different things. She just doesn't want to portray an image that she doesn't think works for her. So yeah. And then guys, I do have my cup, her ladyship. I got this last year at the Royal Yacht Britannia. So quick drink there, real quick. So we got Cheryl T as well. Thank you so much, Cheryl, for the super chat. Good morning, Miss B, Goose, Vinny, and Misty. Say woof woof to Miss Pippa. Charlotte was adopted. Aw. Taking littermate Fern to adoption event today. Read video from Kensington Palace on have fun. Only see families who have been cared for. Meghan Markle, take notice. Exactly. So there's a great comparison because people are like some of the Sussex squad, of course, because they don't really understand royalty. That's the thing. It's almost pointless to get into an argument with them because most of them don't even understand what royalty is. But no, Catherine is not going to go to a hospice with children and look morose. She's not. She's going to smile. She's going to be happy because happiness hopefully brings joy. And as somebody who has been through cancer at this point, and been through chemotherapy, and I'm sure faced her mortality in a way in her early 40s that she thought she would never have to, is that she's looking at these kids going, I wanted to, because she talks even to the people at the hospital, I wanted to feel joy. I wanted to see joy. And so she's trying to bring that to people who are in these desperate situations because she has been there. So she is going to smile and she's going to be happy and she's not going to be morose, which is like how Meghan Markle has been. And again, the difference between Meghan, yes, can go to a hospital and read a book to children. I mean, nobody's really stopping her from doing that. But there's a huge difference, again, between what Meghan and Harry attempt to do and what royals actually do. Harry and Meghan are attempting to recreate royal duties in the States. It doesn't work because that's not their job. Nobody gives two craps in that way about them because we don't have royalty here. It matters a lot, though, when Catherine goes because she represents the monarchy, by extension, the government. And so her being there is uplifting to them. So it's just so different. But yeah, Sussex squad people, oh my gosh, they don't understand royalty at all. Drives me bonkers. Cheryl T in Oklahoma. Thank you so much again, Cheryl. Oh, and Squeaky gives a meow of indifference. Oh, squeaky squeak. She or he just doesn't want to. I love cats. I actually like watching cat videos. I think they're very funny. And we had a cat for a while when I was a kid. And it was so funny because he would always make his jumps and stuff, but every once in a while he would miss. And he'd like land weird or like fall off and he'd freeze. And he'd like kind of like take a second and look and like notice if you're there. And then he's like scampers off and hides because, the humiliation of being unable to make the jump correctly means that he has to go lick his wounds for a little bit. His ego was hurt. Always thought that was really cute. Heather said, hi, Brittany. I heard Meghan was a surprise guest at Kerry Washington's birthday party. Small group of ladies, maybe a +1. Could be. Yeah, because I saw her at the event. And okay, and I made a comment on Twitter, and I realized this was just, I don't think hyperbolic's the right word, but I know this is not fully true. But my always thing with Harry and Meghan has been is that, well, she had to stop her show from airing because, the California wildfires. But within 2 weeks, she's hanging out and partying with a friend. Now I get it. It's a friend's birthday. I get it. It's like not a big deal. But Meghan has done this thing where it just doesn't look like she's working hard. She just looks like she's going and partying. I'm sorry, but there's no reason to have delayed her show by 2 months. No stinking reason. Maybe a week. Yeah. Maybe 2 at the most. But it did not need a like a 2-month break. It didn't. It didn't. There's no reason for that whatsoever. It was way too long. And it's like, I guess she didn't want to clash with Invictus, which is in early February, but she could have done later February. Like to me, the whole thing just looks incredibly lazy. And that Netflix went along with it. I'm sure they're probably like, fine, whatever. We don't care anymore. We're just waiting for this all to be done. That's what I feel like, to me at least. Netflix is like at this point, they're like, oh, we don't care. But like her showing up, it is like her going to her friend's like baby shower or something and partying up. And I was like, where's your show? Where's your business? You need to actually be doing these things because what it looks like is that you're more interested in partying with your famous friends than you are in working. And you can do all the partying stuff you want if you're working really hard. Just never seems like she's working all that hard. So, like if I was Netflix, I'd be going, it it takes forever and a day to get like 2 things from her, but she's more than willing to show up at Kerry Washington's birthday party. She's more than willing to go to her friend's baby shower. She's more than willing to go to this party and that party because it shows that she's more interested in the parties and the fun and the celebrity than she is in actually working. And that's a problem. Jessica Alba, she can go to the party and have fun because yes, she doesn't do a ton of, you could say, movies anymore, but she's worked consistently throughout her life and she has or did have a big stake in the Honest Company. So she made a boatload of money and she can sit on her laurels at this point. Meghan Markle does not have that benefit because their revenue stream will begin to run out. And is she having her bodyguards stand there and like be ridiculous? Because she's so famous, she's so, she's so whatever that she has to have a bodyguard with her all the time. It's just ridiculous. Anyways, so I hope that answers. So yeah, she might have been a plus one because she's desperate for any Hollywood party event thing because she needs to feel important. She needs to be part of the Hollywood elite because that's what she's always wanted to be. The unfortunate thing for her, though, is that the Hollywood elite is sort of a misnomer because all the Hollywood elite went for one particular person in the election and that person lost. So and most people are talking about generally the influence of Hollywood is dead. I mean, look at the movies they've nominated for the Academy Awards. Have you seen any of those? No. I stopped watching years ago. So anyways, and I used to love watching the Oscars. It was my Super Bowl, was the Oscars. Don't give 2 craps anymore. Don't care. Don't care at all. Because the world has changed. And Hollywood, I feel like, while the royals, I feel like, are growing in influence or at least staying the same, Hollywood has lost influence. So anyways, that's all to say. Stepanka says, hello, everyone from the Czech Republic. Alisimo says, Catherine's ring is back. It is. Shuki says, waiting from Australia. Also, might have to give it a miss and watch the replay. I'm so sorry. Chicky says, good night. I understand. Romo Victorio says, got to get on, folks. Hope to see you soon. We got Biscuit or Cake says hello. Oh, we got new people in the beginning. Jess says, she must have messed up her time. Oh, Eastern time for US. It is 10 a.m. Eastern. Did I mess it up in the live stream thing? Anyways, sorry if I messed it up in the live stream thing. But yeah, it's 10 a.m. Sorry. I guess maybe I messed it up here. Good morning, Desert Mermaid says, how long do you think Meghan has eaten up with jealousy over Princess Catherine and does this drive for all her negative actions? I would argue it drives a good chunk of them. I would argue it drives a good chunk of Meghan's sort of complex is that she won't be as good as Catherine. But like the thing that's so incredibly stupid is that you married into the royal family. And what do we all know about every member of the royal family? All the women are put against each other in some way or another. Elizabeth and Margaret, Diana and Fergie, Catherine and whoever Harry's wife was going to be. This is not hard, people. This is not hard. So I think she really did think, because Meghan is so up on herself, she really thought she was like the best thing on planet Earth. And so she walked in the royal family, chest puffed out, going, they're all gonna love me because I'm the best ever. And they're all like, couldn't handle that well. Tune the News says, hey y'all, Andrea here from Phoenix. Can't wait for the live. We got Andrea saying hello. We got Letitia. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Brittany and Miss Pippa. How gorgeous and healthy Catherine looks today. She does. Azuma says, any updates on the Home Office Court of Appeals in April. Not sure yet. Asima says, "Does Harry really sue the Vanity Fair?" No, no, he can't sue Vanity Fair. So the laws for suing in the United States are much more difficult. Like the threshold, my understanding, at least, is the threshold for suing over news stories is like much higher than it is in the UK. Like I don't even know. Like and the problem is that this Vanity Fair piece seems to be well done. Now, there's a different case in the case of Justin Baldoni, who is obviously being sued by Blake Lively. He's suing her, all this mess, which I think Blake Lively was incredibly stupid to start. Because I don't know where any of this goes, but I think she made a series of incredibly stupid mistakes, and most of it goes back to her. Anyways, when it comes to his defamation lawsuit against, let's say, the New York Times or even Blake Lively and Ryan, he has good precedents to do that because they just slandered him. And the New York Times seemed to have taken just Blake's side and didn't really even research Justin's side at all. So they basically carte blanche published whatever Blake Lively wanted them to. And at the end of the day, I don't think they did their due diligence and they smeared him and he lost work because the big thing with defamation in the United States is that you must prove that somebody lost work because of the words that you said or something to that effect. And that's not to say, like, if everybody doesn't like somebody, let's say Meghan Markle, she can't sue everyone. And even if she could, would it be to her benefit? No, because if you're unlikable, you're unlikable. That's just the thing. And there's something to the effect of the wisdom of the mob. So if like there's a good chunk of people who don't like you, well, it's kind of on you. But anyways, the overall implication here is that when it comes to Harry suing the Vanity Fair, he has no leg to stand on for suing Vanity Fair. Yeah, they essentially called him dumb, but can he prove that they were wrong? Can he prove that the sources they got were not good? Like that's a big question. And so I don't think there's any hope there. So I would just yeah, I don't think there's anything there for sure. We have Anna Cedrone. Thank you so much for the tip, Anna. Hi, have a great weekend, Brittany and Ms. Pippa. Why, thank you so much, Ms. Pippa. And I will share it with the members. I haven't had a chance to yet. Is that Ms. Pippa? She has been sans bones for a little over a week now. And it's so funny because sometimes she'll find bones, like these are two that she found somewhere. And so she happily brought them up to my office so she could chew on them, which I'm like, I have to take these away from you. You can't have bones. Anyways, so I'm up here working in my office last night and I hear her yipping. And sometimes she yips and I go downstairs and I just stand over her while she eats her food. For some reason, she needs some moral support to eat her breakfast or dinner or whatever. But I came downstairs as she was in the pantry. She had gotten like up in the pantry. I think she was trying to follow the smell of the bones. So like she needs Bone Lovers Anonymous or something because she's just like obsessed. So cute. All right. Water says, hello, RNN friends. We got Monarchy says, good morning, everyone. Happy Saturday. So wonderful to see Catherine out and about. Yes. Water says, if Meghan is so in love with the bling, why doesn't she wear Diana's aquamarine ring more? So Meghan's kind of funny because she does love the bling, but I don't think she likes how big that ring is. And maybe she's limited in what time she can wear it because it is really big and cumbersome. Like it makes sense for certain events, but most events it doesn't. But like you'll notice, like she'll wear like 4 or 5 rings. And you're like, why? Like all over her hands and stuff, like pinky rings, all over the place. And they're like small trinket rings that cost like a fortune. Most of them are over $1,000. And I'm like, you buying all that stuff? It just one of the weird things. So she likes the bling, but she likes small trinket jewelry. I call it small trinket jewelry, not because it's trinket in terms of not being that expensive, but it's like small and really expensive and it's sort of trinkety. It's like, do you really need a spiral pinky ring? I don't think so. Let alone one that's 3 carats that doesn't even stay on your finger properly. I actually have a whole video. I need to edit it. Sorry. So sorry, guys, for our highest tier members. My rant of my hatred of Meghan's pinky ring. It's so dumb. It's so dumb. It's like one of those really flashy, look at me, I am so stinking wealthy type of things. And I just, ugh. Monarchy says how wonderful she was able to stop her vehicle and go greet the toddler, greeting her at the sock factory, truly showing why she is a lovely RF. Yes, and I did love that we finally got a video where little girl asked, are you a princess? And she goes, yeah. And so that's just so sweet. Water says, love Princess Catherine back at work. Did you see that she stopped her car to meet the little girl who yelled, hello, princess? So sweet. I think she missed meeting the public. I think she does. And it's probably like, kind of uplifting and it feels kind of normal and stuff. So Monarchy says Prince William being so funny, aiming at the press with the water font. Yeah, I mean, William doesn't have a big love of the press either, but he understands the role. Like it would be, and we had a bit of this in the United States, the president not talking to the press, the president of the United States not talking to the press. I'm sorry, but you're the president of the United States. You need to be talking to the press. That is your job. You're representing all of us, not just yourself. So Azuma says, what's with Meghan's obsession with the pinky ring? I don't know. It's her, I think, ultimate, look how stinking wealthy I am. I could put 3 flipping carats on a pinky ring. That to me is what that screams. And also, and I think I forgot to add it, maybe my pinky obsession video. So I'll have to go back maybe and add it. But Lauren Sanchez, the fiance of Jeff Bezos, she also has a massive pinky ring. I just feel like it's one of those things where, and I guess I'm probably giving away, but it's one of those things where it's so impractical. Most normal people, even the wealthy people, wouldn't get it because it's so impractical and dumb because it can't stay up on your finger that they wouldn't get it because it's just pointless. It's just silly. It's just to be flashy. That's what it is. It has no purpose other than to be flashy. Look how wealthy I am. So Azuma says, I'll be listening, but feel like crap. Oh, I hope you feel better. Then we have Diane here. So we have Monarchy says, loved how the Princess of Wales is dressed while visiting the hospice and sock factory. So beautiful and cheap. It was the Zara dress. So in my new fashion rules, do's and don'ts video, which I probably need to take my old one maybe down from RNN at this point because it's really rough. It's really rough. But looking at the what when it comes to royal fashion, royals need to have this really careful balance of both looking great but not breaking the bank. So you can buy expensive things, but you have to moderate it with inexpensive things. And I think Catherine and most royals do that fairly well. Diane says, hi, Arna and family and Brittany. I'll be listening for the first part while I clean and pop into chat later. Sounds good. Deborah says, good morning. Gumdrop says, meow to Miss Pippa. Oh. Azuma says, is there a second engagement ring for Meghan? It feels kind of like that sometimes. Carol says, good morning, Brittany, Miss Pippa from Southwest Florida. We got Wendy, stormy day for the start of February. It's like all of a sudden warm here. So it almost feels like whiplash because it's like it was so cold for so long and now it's kind of warm. And I'm like, okay, so spring already sprung. Not that I don't want super cold, but it's like having the nice chill is nice because at some point it becomes the summer. And that's tough. Diane says, nice to see you all this morning. Rich says, hello from Chicago. We got Kate here from Alabama. Carol says, Brittany, love the fashion videos and this week's videos. The rules of royal dressing were great. Why, thank you. Yeah, that was fun to do. It took me a while because I had to find all the pictures. And there's just like so many pictures. So I was able to find most of what I wanted, I think. Chatty Kathy says, I'm here basking in the Itchy Tuckney Springs, Florida sun. Don't know, probably butchered that. Good morning, Brittany, Miss Pippa, and everyone. Thank you. Water says, morning, Brittany. My cat, Yuki, says meow to Miss Pippa. Aw. Mademoiselle Rhapsody, good morning. We got Christina. Hi, everyone. Chile, Maryland. Brittany, what are your thoughts about Meghan crashing Kerry Washington's private birthday party? I mean, I don't think she crashed. I think you asked that question later. I don't think she totally crashed, but yeah, that would be kind of funny. She's kind of persona non grata because it would be interesting to see. Because yes, she has friends in the industry. It's not that she doesn't. And yes, she talks a good game, but like the failure is so obvious. They've been labeled disaster tourists. Everybody hates them. So like Hollywood is all about though keeping your friends close and your enemies closer and keeping relationships open with someone, even if you don't particularly like them, because it might be useful at some point. That's kind of Hollywood. Terry says, good morning. We have Roxanne here as well. Azuma says, hi, Miss Pippa. Hope you are better. She is better after her little dental operation, but the lack of bones has been just detrimental to the little girl. She just cannot stand it. Chatty Kathy says, my girl, doggy Toto says hi to Miss Pippa. Water says, I wish I was in Florida. I don't like winter. Yeah, I kind of wish I was in Florida too. Casey said, good morning. Got Liz E here as well. Amaya from California. We got Elizabeth. Good morning, everyone. Is there a live chat this morning? There is. I was just late. Chris Cook said morning. We have Sir Squirrel a lot says, hello, Brittany, Miss Pippa. Did everyone see the fantastic video of Catherine getting out of the car to greet the girl? Yes, we did. It was a great video. Diane says, hello. We got P and New C. Good morning from Indiana. And Monarchy says, Lady Louise looked fantastic in her military gear. Wow, I'm sure Queen Elizabeth II is smiling down on her with joy and pride. I'm sure she is. Sure she is. Chatty Cathy says, there's live chat. Yes. Yeah, sometimes the cocoa takes a while. So I have this cocoa thing that makes my cocoa for me, but I do need to clean it after it's done. Otherwise, the chocolate's going to stick. So it probably took me a minute to clean that out. So we have JB says, good morning. We got Elaine from Rhode Island. We got Biggly Wiggly says, hello, everyone. We got Monarchy says, nice to see you on Dan Wooten. Yes. So the plan so far is for me to appear on every Monday on the after show. So I should be there on Monday this week as well. So if you guys want to tune in and everything, that would be absolutely awesome. The video, of course, is available later. I'll try to always remember to share. I need to create, though, I think I can create a playlist from other videos. So I need to like track that down because I'm pretty sure that exists. So Shaz says, good afternoon, Brittany, Miss Pippin all in the chat. I was confused at the time set, but came anyways. I must have set the time wrong. I'm so sorry. I must have set the time wrong. Birdie, it was late last night after I got done. I was doing this at like midnight. So that probably is why. Birdie says, oops, I think I asked before live. Why does Meghan think Invictus will help her image? We're all aware she demands as far as clothing travel. Do you think the Canadian people care? So to be fair, I don't think they're necessarily covering the costs of her wardrobe and stuff. I don't think that's necessarily the case. Are they covering probably travel and housing arrangements for them? Yes. Transportation arrangements, probably. So that's what they're covering for them. Clothing, I would imagine not. I could be wrong, but I don't think so. But here's the issue I have with the Invictus Games. Is Meghan going because it truly is beneficial for her to be there, or to like the troops and stuff, and then she really cares about it? Or is even Invictus Games using her in order to get more eyeballs on the event that they can't get on the event itself by itself on its own merits? I personally think that the Invictus is sort of becoming part of the grift. So the Invictus Games, although she's there not just to support Harry in the games or whatever. She's there literally to try to help them get more views, because the games themselves can't get the views. Now, that's just my theory. I was actually going to test the theory by going out to the Pacific Northwest this year, and then I'm like, no. I was like, do I care really enough to spend the entire week in Vancouver for no inexplicable reason? No, I don't care enough to do that. So I'm not doing that. But I truly do think that the Invictus Games, it can't attract an audience. And so you see this reflected actually in the people they've chosen for the opening ceremony. They're getting a ton of people, probably paying a boatload of money for that ceremony. Why? Because it's the only way they can get butts in seats. And that's not to say anything disparaging to the veterans. They're doing great. But Invictus is very convoluted in terms of its messaging. It is not well managed, I think, in terms of PR and public image and social media and everything like that. I don't think it's well managed, because what they should be doing is really highlighting the stories of the veterans, figuring out how to get them out more. The games have become the Harry games. And sometimes the Harry and Meghan games are the Meghan and Harry games. They're no longer the Invictus Games. All the news stories are about them regarding the games. And I think there is great stories probably for the veterans out there, but they can't get through the malaise of Harry and Meghan. And so like even the ABC interview last year with Harry about the games, it became about his dad and his family. Why? Because that's all anybody cares about. So they really have to figure out, I think, for the Invictus Games, how to move forward and how to get Harry and Meghan out of the picture. Not just because I think they're a waste of money and don't bring that much to the games, really. But there's such a mission drift for the Invictus Games every year. And it's becoming way over what it could actually be. The Invictus Games is best served, I think, by being small and more localized. It does not behoove it to try to be the Olympics. Even the Olympics can't recoup the cost of the Olympics. Let's be honest. Most cities go bankrupt trying to host the Olympics. So, for the Invictus Games, like, what's the point of trying to make it this huge international event or whatever? It's not going to be that. You know why people do watch the Olympics? For the incredible sports feats. And yes, there are incredible feats that happen at the Olympics, but it's also more like, or at the Invictus Games, but it's also more like the Paralympics, which got great viewership this year. But also some of the, like, there's just a difference. There's just a difference. And so it's just something to keep in mind. But the Invictus Games, oh, they just can't seem to get there. Cindy gave a super sticker and a super chat. Why, thank you so much, Cindy. I hope you're having a great morning here. And we do have Annie here. I think I didn't mention you. Carol says, hopefully we can see an engagement out of Catherine bi-weekly or weekly. Yes, that's kind of what I'm hoping. I don't think weekly is probably likely, bi-weekly, but we should see her a couple of other times in February. Again, I think I said this on the members only chat earlier this week, but when it comes to Catherine and William, they've always had a bit of a work shy reputation. That's been there for 10 plus years now. So that's been around for a long time. And so why I was so excited that we saw her at least a couple times in January is that I was really worried we would see her one time per month this year. And I'm sorry, I just don't think that's very feasible. The whole point of royalty is to see them. And so if you can't see them, people start to wonder and justify about your existence. It's actually been interesting. There's been a decent amount of conversation I've seen on some Dutch profiles about their royal family taking too many vacations. Like all the kings going away for a week and a half in the mountains to ski. Oh, they were in Argentina for the whole like Christmas, New Year's season. Like they were away for weeks and now they're back for a couple weeks and then they're gone for a couple weeks again. That kind of stuff does start to dig in at some point. So you have to be so careful as royals to, yes, you have downtime. Yes, you need time to recover, but you also can't be seen as overindulging in that. Again, there's the balance and the line to walk. It's just like the fashion. Yes, you need to buy expensive things because you need to look good. But yes, you also need to invest in Zara. So Deborah says, good morning, Brittany, and everyone in the chat. Good morning. Missy Lulu says, good morning, lovely peeps. Lizzie says Netflix needs to be humiliated. Just a smidge, maybe. Like Netflix can have some good stuff, not that they can't, but Harry and Meghan, I mean, that's just simply embarrassing. They should just be embarrassed and humiliated for that a little bit. I mean, they got their pound of flesh, but really they should have said, okay, you get one show, the Harry and Meghan thing. We want it done in a year, or we want it done in 2 years, and then we will reassess after that. Why in the world they would give two wildly inexperienced people $100 million contract is stupidity, in my opinion. Like, give large contracts to Shonda Rhimes. What is his name? He did American Horror Story or whatever. Murphy, I think is his last name. Can't think of his first name. Him, Steven Spielberg, although Steven Spielberg's not really doing anything. You also have the deal that went to, that's also been kind of a bust, that went to Zack Snyder. At least he had a track record of big Hollywood productions. Like Harry and Meghan literally had nothing. She was a bit part on Suits. He was the guy who barely graduated high school, had to drop out of the military because he couldn't pass the officer's exam or didn't think he could or didn't want to. So it's like, between those two people, really? You think they're going to produce $100 million worth of work for you? Really? Really? So anyways, Ritz says, the more subscribers jump ship from Netflix, the more they are to hike up their prices. Just insane. Well, Netflix too, actually, I remember watching this because it was kind of interesting, is that when it comes to Netflix and what has happened to them is that they reach market saturation at some point. At some point, you've hit every potential subscriber you could probably hit. And so either a country develops, let's say, a bit more, like maybe some parts in India or something, because there's a huge population there, or Pakistan. I mean, I know there's probably subscribers there already, but there's a lot of people also in poverty. So unless they have a huge uptick in industrialization so that more people are out of poverty or whatever, you most likely aren't going to hit more than what you're already hitting. You've reached market saturation. You reached all potential members, and growth has slowed. Although growth was up actually for Netflix this year. So instead, what you have to do at some point is that in order to justify the enormous cost you're spending to acquire material and to produce it, you have to raise the prices. That's just how it's going to be. So, Steva, thank you so much for the tip. Canada missed an opportunity. If President Trump is going to Invictus and Meghan would stay home, but he's not. He's not, but would keep her away. That's true. That's true. Yeah. So if Donald Trump went, Meghan Markle probably wouldn't go. But honestly, I don't think Donald Trump, he has more important fish to fry at this point. This is just a couple of days into his presidency. Maybe, just maybe they'll send somebody from the administration, but they might not even do that because they might be like, this is like, we fully support all the veterans who are part of this, but like, this has nothing to do with us. And there's a part of that that's true. There's a part of that that's true. This is a independently created thing. And so, yeah, it has support from the military. Of course it does. Not that they don't want to, but at the same time, are they going to spend enormous amount of resources doing this so that Harry can get more attention and more money? Probably not. I don't think he's making anything from Invictus, but yeah. Anyways, so we have Marcel Loves here. Good morning. We got Becky from Colorado, Melanie. I seen Mo mention those two on the Victus website. Is that normal? I haven't really looked and haven't really kept up to be sure, but like it's kind of obvious. But my big question is, yeah, they might get a lot of people, a crowd for the opening ceremonies, but will anybody go to the individual events? That's the big question. Teacher Ray Samantha says, hello, Brittany. I love your video about Meghan's engagement ring. Yes, I agree with you that she didn't like it at all. Maybe her next move in the future is to FedEx it once the divorce comes up. Yeah, maybe. Because like I was watching the video, it's like she looks down at it and she's frowning. I felt her disdain for it. I don't think she liked it at all. She changed everything about that ring pretty much, except for the stone. She changed how everything about that ring looked. And my thought was, and I didn't say this, but my thought is that if you're a gentleman who is going to propose, unless you're really positive what your girl wants, I would say go and at least have her say, these are the styles I like. Don't surprise her with something that that doesn't have any connection to her or that she won't like. Don't do that. Go to a store, like, look, does she like, a pear cut or a emerald cut, a cushion cut, a round cut, like know which cut she likes, know which gold she likes. Because yes, I think there's an episode, though, this is a long time back, of Sex in the City where Aiden was going to propose to Carrie or whatever. And I really don't recommend actually watching that show because I look back in it now. I was like, why did I watch that show? It was a dumb show. Anyways, I know people love it, but I've come to have a bit of a distaste for it. Anyways, her guy was originally going to propose to her, I think, with a pear cut ring, and she like threw up because she hated it so much. I mean, part of it was like the pressure of like, wedding and marriage or whatever. But part of it too was she's like, that is not my style at all. And I sort of get that because it would be like really hard if he got you something that was just not your style at all. And you're like, do you even know me? Especially if you're really into fashion or something. It's like, you look at this going, do you know me at all? So I would recommend, this is just my thought. I realize this is going really long, but make sure you know at least some of what she prefers before just merely going and buying the ring. If you might be really good and you might get it right the first time, but not everybody does. I will say, though, I did ask my mom about this because I was curious, but although she has the original stone for her engagement ring, they did upgrade it not too long after they got married. Apparently she couldn't find like a wedding band that went with it, that was a set that she liked or whatever. And so they ended up getting the one that I remember her growing up with. But to share as well, it's like, obviously they got married when she was 20 and he was 22. So they were very young. So they didn't have a lot of money to work with. So like Harry and Meghan had all the money in the world. And he obviously, like, the ring he chose, she hated. She hated everything about that ring. It was not hers at all. But she also wanted Lorraine Schwartz. She wanted Hollywood. So anyways, thank you, though. John Mustard, thank you so much for the tip. Keep up the great work, Brittany. Keep speaking truth to power. Yes, I do feel like that's my That's what I tried to do. I don't know if I always succeed, but that's what I attempt to do, hopefully in a winsome way. Andrea Black said, "Hey, y'all, Brittany." We got Esther saying, "Good morning from Texas. Looking forward to 70s today. I was excited to see Catherine out and about this week." Me too. Me too. I think it's really good. If she's away next week, totally get it. Maybe within the next 2 to 3 weeks, we should see her again. That would be my guess. Again, I think they should keep up, not like overwhelming her, but also like she can't stay, like she needs to be out and about if she can be. Because again, it's all that balance work. All right, we got Laura. Good morning, Brittany. Dooku and Amy give a hearty woof woof to little Miss Pippa. Gina Smith says, "Is this group a coven?" No. But if you're asking about the birthday party, apparently, now I will pull up my phone here because apparently this is like Jessica Alba wrote something and people are like, "Is this a cult?" Or this a coven or something. Because she says, "Happy born day to my girl, Carrie Washington. There's nothing like that fill your cup type of girls' night under the energy of the hashtag new moon in Aquarius. We came together for a beautiful ceremony led by Jill, founder of Spirit Daughter. New moons are time for fresh starts, setting intentions and calling in new possibilities. And this night was just that. We connected, manifested, released what no longer serves us, and tapped into our power and highest vibration." Oh, dear Lord Almighty. Sorry, guys. I hate that kind of stuff. I hate that kind of stuff. No offense to those who are in there. This is just gobbledygook new age nonsense. You guys are literally there, like in a little coven, going, "Oh, manifest, manifest." I hate manifest. I think it's a dumb idea. Like, be purposeful, be intentional, but don't just sit there going, "I am going to have that Tiffany ring, and I'm just going to sit here and meditate and manifest it." That's dumb. That's dumb. If you want the Tiffany ring and he's not gonna buy it for you, then you buy it yourself, honey. Anyways, I cannot stand that gobbledygook nonsense. Cannot stand it. It means nothing. Means nothing. But apparently they were all singing Kumbaya, I guess. Rich says Abigail needs her head examined. Y'all think? Come on. Yeah. So the thing too with Megan's friends is that they are just like her. So like attracts like. So she doesn't see the Megan we all see because she sees whatever the heck they see in each other, I guess. I don't know. Maggie says, "Good morning, all. I'm loving the necklace and earrings today." Why, thank you. Yeah, again, this is actually, it was funny because I saw this and like, this would normally not be me. But I realized my mom has a heart necklace from when I was born. So that's kind of why I want it. I actually had a kid version of it that wasn't real stones. So that's kind of fun. And then obviously just the studs. I need to change them out. I do have something to unbox here that I'll do in a video here sometime soon. And there'll be a giveaway, not a giveaway. There'll be a great deal with Anna Lucia coming up here for Valentine's Day. Rose said, "Hi, Brittany." We got Caroline Lane here. Liz E. "There's no real Megan. She doesn't even know who the real Megan is at this point." If you've ever seen Tropics Thunder, there's a bit with Robert Downey Jr.'s character. He goes, "I'm a dude playing this dude um, disguised as another dude. I'm a dude playing a dude described. I'm a dude playing a dude who is what, I can't even think of the word now. Dude playing disguised as another dude." So that's Megan. She's a woman playing a woman disguised by another woman. Yeah, so that's definitely Megan. Chantal says, "Good morning from the Netherlands. Would you consider 1.6 million followers for Megan a success?" Not really. I mean, it's okay. She had a much slower growth than she should have. And then she immediately stopped when Meta changed the rules, which I think is hilarious. She immediately stopped. And so it's like, so I feel like it's so funny that like the universe, which is dumb because I don't believe in that either. I shouldn't say that. But I feel like there's, and I'm not interested in karma, but I feel like there's a certain amount of lovely irony that Meghan Markle makes her splashy revamping of Instagram only to get immediately slapped in the face by Mark Zuckerberg. I think that's funny. Tanya says, "Good morning, Arnon and family." Carol says, "Invictus Games is moving from their original vision." Yes, very much so. Like, it's a huge concert thing. And I'm like, why? Heather says, "Good morning, Brittany. I heard Megan showed up as a surprise guest at Kerry Washington's party." I don't know, if she was a surprise guest, they didn't kick her out, so that's, I guess, saying something, but she's been friendly with Carrie before, so I'm not really that surprised. JB says Invictus is now Mia Palooza. Yeah, a little bit. Eva Williamson says, good morning, Brittany. Sir Squirrels a lot says Meghan Markle's wedding ring is a work in progress. I keep thinking about how the wedding designer crew said she kept changing her mind. Exactly. She's never satisfied. If she could have a Kim Kardashian level 20 carat like diamond engagement ring, that's what she would want. I'm sure she's a bit miffed. It's not more impressive than it is. And it's not Catherine's iconic engagement ring. It's like, there's honestly really nothing all that interesting about her ring. I find her ring to be quite boring, to be honest. Missy Lulu says, I hope that the family members of the players of the Invictus Games do not have to pay for their tickets and the family is given free access to free tickets. That I'm not sure about, but I hope that is true. Ritz says, it's all about the veterans. It's about the veterans. Oh, what a shame. Yeah. Deborah says, Invictus is an image turmoil. It's a concert, not an 8-day event about the veterans. Yeah. And again, you run the risk. And this is just something from the outside looking in, is that you're there and you're paying because you want to see Katy Perry. That's why you're going to the concert. It's Katy Perry didn't come to Vancouver. You can afford the Katy Perry tickets in Vancouver. And so you're going to do it at the Invictus Games because it's cheaper. It's like midday or something. It's kind of weird. And so you're in the crowd there and you're waiting and they're doing all this stuff about the veterans. And you're like, but where's Katy Perry? And then Katy Perry finally comes on, plays 1 or 2 half-hearted sets and then leaves. And then you have to waste the rest of your time there. And you're just like, you might leave early. You might just go, well, this was dumb. It might leave a bad taste in your mouth for the Invictus overall if they didn't do a great job of keeping you engaged or you feel like they misled you on the purpose of the event. Again, these are all risks that Invictus runs here with turning it too much into a concert. I remember when I went in 2016, yes, there were a couple of musical performances, but that definitely was not the point. That definitely was not a point. There was like a cool moment where I think they had a Black Hawk helicopter. I think somebody rappelled down or something into the stadium or something like that. That's what I remember. So it was like mostly about the veterans. And to me, if you're going there and you're going there for the veterans, like that's the purpose. So I think if you turn it into a concert, that's no longer about the veterans. It's about Chris Martin and Katy Perry. Laura says, good morning, Brittany. Really enjoy your channel. Why, thank you. Rachel said, good afternoon from Cameroon. Oh, wow. I don't think we've ever had Cameroon in the house before, or at least not that I've known of. Welcome. Junebug says, good morning, Brittany and Miss Pippa. Melanie says, Invictus has turned into a musical festival. Yep. And that's just a sign of not only just mission drift, but like mission collapse, that they're having a tough time. And so they're having to pay more exorbitant fees to get musical guests to hope to fill the seats, basically. Katie says her PR team isn't going to come up with a plan until they address the elephant in the room, the way they treated their families. Exactly. Water says, we know the real Meghan. What we'll actually see is her bully people instead of just saying everyone. Yeah. It's just annoying when they go, oh, you just haven't seen the real Meghan. I was like, well, then who's been in front of the cameras for the last 8 or 9 years? So you're saying that's a facade? That's a lie? So what's the real Meghan? Like these kind of stupid asinine comments that her friends make are not helping her. Like even Royalty, who I sometimes like, sometimes don't, was talking about is like, well, we've all seen this. Like, this is not a good strategy to try to get people to like her more. Like, this is dumb. I mean, they didn't say it that way, but I was like, this is dumb. It is. It's dumb. It's just unbelievably dumb. It's like they're treating us like we are dumb. It's very annoying. So we have Renee wishing everyone a great Saturday. Michelle H said, good afternoon for Chile, London. I hope you're all well, or from Chile, London. Pian Nusi says, Meghan Markle acts goody two-shoes and she isn't, but she can make a sailor blush. Exactly. And people just sort of kind of appreciate the reality of something. Reality is not a word, but if people are real, people appreciate that. She's not real. She's just trying to create this persona and it's just not the real her. And so it just never works. Chantal says, that is what people thought who came to the Democratic convention thinking they would get a Beyonce concert match she didn't sign. Yeah, exactly. Sing. Yes, exactly. A lot of other people made that comment as well, is that, yeah, you got butts and seats because people came for the concerts and sometimes there were actual concerts. and it didn't change the outcome of the election. So was it worth it? No, I don't think bringing all these musical guests is going to make the Invictus Games better. You have to figure out how to like. No, I think the true answer is for the Invictus Games is that it's they're trying to scale it well beyond of the parameters of what it can actually do. So the best thing is to minimize some of that, and they're just not doing it. Rich says, "Oh, please don't let her crash the Grammy Awards, please." Or is she gonna crash the Oscars? Prince of Peace says, as for Invictus Games, Harry is blurring the lines of its purpose of shining a light on soldiers injured in combat, and it's due to very low vision. Yes. Well, yeah, because I agree too on the Heart of Invictus. I still was like, why are we spending so much time with the guy who was injured in a motorcycle accident here in the States? Now, while that's tragic too, not saying he can't also participate, it's like, I thought this was about people who are injured in combat. Yeah. Gretchen the First says, good morning, all. It's snowing here in Massachusetts. Thank goodness for RNN and hot coffee. Sounds good. La says, hi, Brittany and all of you. Is it true Netflix is doing some new shoots? Thank you. They could definitely be. The amount of time they took off, which was unnecessary, in my opinion, does give them time to make edits, does give them the time to maybe pick up a couple things and make changes. Don't know if they're doing that, but I would not be surprised either. Sylvia says, good morning from D South Texas. We got Frank. Princess Mafalda of Italy died in Buchenwald in 1944. Oh, she was the wife of Prince Philip of Hesse. After Italy surrendered the Allies and Prince Philip cooled on Hitler and she was arrested. Oh, thank you for sharing. I missed that. All right. Cyril Squirrels a lot. He said, you made me realize that both Meghan Markle and Harry basically are arrested development. Frozen as 12-year-old children, self-centered and mean when not getting their way. Yeah, basically. He's frozen. I mean, at the moment of trauma. So, I mean, I feel for him, the trauma of his mother dying. He's kind of frozen there mentally in many ways. And it's sad that he can't move on. I don't think people are helping him do that effectively. So Carol says, Meghan has always been obsessed with fame and money. When she receives criticism, she's always pivoting, which means she's always revamping her images. She uses friendships. Yes. And a lot of her friends are the same way. So that's why they don't mind. When he says Meghan always wants to appear in some kind of metamorphosis, never arrives at beauty. Yeah, she's constantly. I mean, how many times have we heard, even from Meghan Markle's own mouth, "Oh, this is the real Meghan Markle." It's like, how many times have we heard that? Abigail Spencer saying that again is dumb. Like, do these people, they don't have good PR people, or they just don't listen to them? Because seriously, I just go, don't say anything like that. People have heard that a million gazillion times at this point. We have seen the real Meghan. That's why we don't like her. Or that's why people don't like her. That's just my thought and opinion, but I feel like people have seen enough of Meghan to make a deduction. And if they've made the wrong deduction, then that's Meghan's fault. All right. Patricia says, good morning, everyone. Have a fun weekend starting here. Caroline says, don't know. She knows who her true self is. She seems like living in make-believe world to me. That would not be a surprise either. Would not be surprised if she doesn't know who the real Meghan is. Deborah says, good morning from sunny South Carolina. Water says, didn't Harry learn different languages as a kid? Should he know more Spanish than her? Charlotte already knows 2 languages, I think. Definitely does not. Definitely didn't learn any other languages. And that's not a surprise. Most native English speakers do not know another language. And that's a pity on us, but yeah. Dizfan says, good morning, Brittany. Congratulations on print. Oh, yes, to Princess Beatrice and Edo on their newest arrival. Yes. So I think, too, usually we've heard in about a day or two that one of the sisters had given birth. So we didn't hear for a week. So I wonder, there definitely seemed to be, she arrived, it appears, a bit early. There probably were a couple of complications, but glad to hear she's doing well. Sarah says, hi, Brittany. Hope all is well. I really enjoyed your work today. Your work and today is superb as always. Why, thank you. Christina says, I heard the saying that she was not invited. Sylvia says, what if Katy Perry does a Beyonce? Remember Beyonce, Kamal's hostess, and did not perform? Yeah, if something like that would happen, people would be ticked. They'd be really ticked. Paige says, good morning from South Carolina. We got Allison Yager here as well from Idaho. So Frank says, I loved your combining of modern royal engagements with history. Oh, I thank you, Frank. I appreciate that. Yeah. I think people don't totally understand the history and why royals do something, why they exist, and which I think is an indication as well of Harry and Meghan really muddying the waters. people, especially their fans, just don't know what royals really do. They don't know how royals really operate. And they make arguments and put out ridiculous nonsense because they really don't know what they're talking about. That's the end game, is they really don't know what they're talking about. Deborah says, I have 2 cats and a German Shepherd. That is so sweet. We got Liz, who's been a member for 12 months, saying the only way she could crash an awards show if they allowed her and leaked the news in hopes people would tune in and watch. I mean, seriously though, that's not out of the realm of possibility. The thing with Harry and Meghan that seems to be true that everybody kind of sort of knows is that if you invite them or they show up, eyeballs do get on the event, but it's usually negative. So if you're smart, you go, yeah, they would give us more attention, but the attention would skew negative. So although Hollywood's such a bubble, I don't think they understand this at all. But when it comes to, let's say, the upcoming Oscars, Amelia Perez has like 13 nominations, and pretty much everybody under the sun hates that movie. And so if you've been following any of this, you might know why. But anyways, it's one of those things where it's already like the Oscars are sort of skewing negative, like the viewership is down and everything because none of the general public knows the movies. And Amelia Perez, even a lot of the critics didn't like it. The vast majority of the public didn't like it. The groups of people they were trying to portray, so in this case, actually Mexicans and transgender people, they don't like it either. So it's like, oh man, it's just it seems like a terrible movie. But I don't think, so they could ask Harry and Meghan to go, but I don't think they would help. Prince of Peace says, oh, royals should uplift the spirits of their people, especially when they're incredibly ill. Yeah, exactly. You don't want somebody going to the hospital while you feel sick and you feel miserable, like wallowing also in your misery. You want them to lift you up because maybe that helps your mood, helps you feel better. Sir Squirrel a lot said, it's good that they're with each other. Can't imagine being with either of them. Yeah. And he says, does anyone ever feel like Prince Harry, who is by own actions thought he would become so completely depressed and broken by being lied to by his wife and homesick for his family would self-harm? I mean, there's obviously, of course, always the possibility of that. I don't think that's a possibility. Hopefully not. I'm not wishing that at all. But do I think that at some point everything might dawn on him and he might just really be frustrated and angry and maybe a bit depressed and stuff? Yeah. Rich says cat videos are hilarious, especially the way they slap back. It's insane. Yeah, or sometimes it's like they're there and they're like, "Don't do that," and then they knock the glass off the shelf, and they're like, "Why did you do that?" The cat's just like, "I do that." I also watch horse videos. There's a girl named Katie Sky something something. Anyways, she does horse videos, and it's so cute because they have little baby horses. I love horses, but I can't ride horses. Not just because I don't have a horse to ride, but my wrist, I was broken on a horseback riding trip, and my foot break is actually technically connected to a horse injury as well. So, or at least that's how people initially got it. So for me, being on a horseback, probably not the best idea. Sylvia says, correction, Beyonce did not perform at Mal's rally. No. Stepanka says, fishy who takes a+1 to a birthday party. Yeah, a little weird. Kitty Cat says, everyone is reporting that she crashed the party. My question is, how would she know about it if not invited? So many questions surrounding though too. So many lies. Well, to be fair to Harry and Meghan, because of all the lies and the misinformation, everything surrounding them, a lot of stuff gets fed by people outside of their control. So when it comes to this particular party, I would say that I doubt she wasn't invited. She is friends with Kerry Washington. Now, yes, they're sort of pariahs, but she might have gotten maybe cleverly tried to uninvite her and then she came anyways, whatever. But yeah, I mean, she was part of, I guess, some sort of ritualistic cult there. The New Agey ladies in the coven, I guess. Sorry, it's hard not to make those comparisons based on what Jessica Alba wrote. Again, celebrities are their own worst enemies. They really are. Rich says she wants to be seen. That's what she's obsessed with. Exactly. Sharon says she is trying to fix it. Could be. Jamie says, good morning. We have Missy says they need time to be able to plan for the aftermath of the show airing. Very true. Very true. Carol says Netflix behavior to me speaks as that they already checked out and will not renew the contract with Harry and Meghan. That's what I think too. I think that's why a little bit of the panic on Harry and Meghan's part, that they're hoping maybe they can shore up the show and make it a little bit better, and maybe just maybe they get an extension. But Netflix is already like, yeah. I mean, I just cannot fathom that they are salivating for more Harry and Meghan. Sorry. Linda K. Morse says, narcissistic personality. Meghan checks all the boxes. Bullying, discarding, all the attention must be centered on her. Yes. Sharon said Katy Perry's on a huge downward trajectory. That is true. That is true. So when she performed at the coronation, this was before she launched her new album. So she was kind of on the outs, but yet also just still a little bit respected. And then she did this album, which was kind of horrific. And then every red carpet event, and this is my thing that I noticed with celebrity ladies who are trying to get attention after their time has passed, is that they start dressing, quite frankly, a little slutty. And I noticed that with Katy Perry, that like everything was really low cut, like really short, like everything. And not that you can't dress that way, but you're in your 40s now. And so at some point you need to like put on your big girl britches, and there's a classy way to be sexy at certain ages rather than just being slutty and trying to get attention. And to me, Katy Perry struck me as somebody who could not be successful based on her own laurels anymore and had to try to be sexy in order to do it. And that did not work. So she's been on sort of a downward spiral. Gretchen the First says, did you see the video of Catherine getting out of the car and talking to that little girl? My opinion says everything about real royalty and why Meghan failed so spectacularly. Yes, I did. I agree. So wonderful. Asma says, meanwhile, William takes minimal amount of security needed. So what's Harry's problem? Exactly. So you can walk around without much attention. That's why, to me, I think it's absolutely silly that Harry and Meghan maybe travel like every day in Montecito with like this huge cadre, probably not huge, like 1 or 2 bodyguards or something per day. I'm like, why? If you are walking around like normal, no one will probably bother you. No one will bother you because you look normal. You look like everyone else. It's when you're actually like having a bunch of bodyguards and stuff actually calls attention to you. It's attention. It's literal attention. They're literally paying people to pay attention to them. Think about that. Not saying that they don't need security. I do believe they do. But I mean, if Meghan takes her security to go to a birthday party at Kerry Washington's house. Number one, Kerry Washington is more famous in some ways than she is. Number two, Kerry Washington has made more money than she has. Kerry Washington has more influence in Hollywood than she has. So, like, she starts to look really silly. So, Caroline says, to my fellow Aussies who may be in FNQ, New Finland Queens? No, it's not right. Queensland? Queensland, who may be here. I hope you're keeping safe in the terrible floods. Yes, yes, absolutely. Kiki Mitt says, wishing all R&M family, Brittany and Miss Pippa, a wonderful Saturday. Love from me. Montague and Tallulah in Manchester, UK. Love your commentary, Brittany. Insightful as usual. Why, thank you. Order says, and here the future king takes a train. Yes, the royals do take trains. Deborah says, Brittany, what do you think about the 2 Danish royals going to the Invictus? I did think that was kind of interesting. I haven't heard of any other royals sending any other delegations there. Joachim and Marie they might actually feel some sort of symbiotic relationship with Harry and Meghan because they also kind of got kicked out. Not because they were needed to be kicked out, but the Queen decided to kind of shuffle them off to the United States. And then, well, actually, it was initially France, then it became the United States. And then also their children's titles were stripped and went from a prince and princess to a count and countess. So that left a lot of bad feelings. So I imagine maybe they feel some sort of connection to Harry and Meghan. They're still allowed to come to Denmark and do various events and stuff. But definitely could see others too. PN Newsy says, I used to love the Oscars too. When they got too preachy, I stopped watching. Yeah, and like you don't know any of the movies anymore. It's become so insidery that like nobody cares. Kelly says, good morning, Brittany. We got Godzilla Manstrip. Good morning, Brittany. I feel bad for their children missing out on all the love from RF. Me too. Shaz says, you put 7 a.m. UK time. LOL. I'm so sorry. Definitely not that. Definitely not that. Princess Goose says, the Golden Globes, SAG, BAFTAs, and Oscars are my favorite season of the year. Haven't watched them in years. Yep. I used to watch them all the time. Don't care anymore. Yeah, don't care. Gretchen the First says, not to mention politics, but the Invictus concert reminds me of the Harris campaign paying for celebrities, basically celebrities using donations to make money and get exposure. Yes. Terry Stair says, good morning, Brittany. Rewatched Harry and Meghan's walkabout with Catherine William after the Queen's death. Meghan's body language around Catherine, jealous, but knows Catherine is the one person who could take her down, but too classy to do it. Very true. Lizzie says, it said 1 a.m. start time, which threw me, but I ignored. Yes. Sorry. I don't even know. I did. Louise says, hi, Brittany, noticed your necklace and was wondering if it means anything special to you or if you just like to wear one. So I do always like to wear one, but I did get this one recently from Anna Lucia. And it was one I saw on their website and I just kind of really liked. And it wasn't until I mentioned this earlier, it wasn't until I got it that I kind of sort of realized, oh, wait, my mom has a diamond heart necklace like this. So she got from on her behalf when I was born. So it was, if you want to call it her push present or everything before that was a thing. So she got that. So it's very similar. So that has a special place. Actually, when I was a kid, I got a little fake one, which I really liked. I don't even know if I still have it, to be quite honest. I might. But it's just a sweet thing. So yeah. Rid says the photo series that Anna Wintour invited Catherine to do must be driving her out of her mind. Oops. Yeah, we don't know if that's true. It could be true. So and Anna Cedrone says, hello, Brittany and Miss Pippa. I love RNN. Carol says it was said 2 a.m. and want to turn a notification. Yeah. Sorry, guys. Shaz says, but it didn't help that Harry told her that she did better than any other working role. Yes. So he puffed her up too. He inflamed her ego, and that was a bad combination. We have Susu Designs here from Bath. Aram Scout, hello, Brittany and RNN. PDD says, we haven't seen Princess Diana's jewelry lately on Meghan. Do you think it had to remain in the UK and wasn't actually given to her but loaned to her? I don't think that's necessarily the case, but what I do think is the case is that technically Harry owns it. Harry and William own it. It was not probably given to her. She is allowed to use it, but it is not something that she individually owns. Honestly, I think most of Diana's jewelry that she got probably really isn't to her taste. And so she doesn't wear a lot of it. But she does wear it when she can to be like, "Oh yeah, look, I married Diana's son, the dumber one and the spare, and I got the less nice jewelry," because she did get obviously the less nice jewelry overall. Like the only decent piece she got was maybe a tennis bracelet and the aquamarine ring, and that was it. So she didn't get anything too impressive. Rich says they sue and blame everyone for anything that doesn't go right with them. Never their fault, ever. Yep. Renee said, I love Catherine's interaction with the banana girl. Yeah, that was cute. She's like, my banana squeaks. And she's like, oh, does it? Tune the news gave a betcha waves. We got Cowboy here. Share from Tennessee on the farm visit. William made a reference to, and I missed it. Water says, please say Diana's jewelry will go back to the RF after their divorce. That is my perception, not to the RF, but to William and Harry. I think they own the pieces. That would be my guess. And that would be my suggestion to them, is that you guys own it. Rich says, Blake Lively opened up a massive can of worms. Good God. Yes. I think I really don't know the ins and outs of everything, but I think she massively screwed up, and she's the one who screwed up, not him. I don't think his PR team had to do anything to fan the flames of the negative press. She did that with her own behavior. And so now she's trying to sue him, I think, to reclaim her reputation, which I just think is going to make everything worse. She's drawing more attention to it. The best thing, sorry. Blake got a series of bad press for how she answered and interacted with the press during her tour for The Sends With Us, which is a movie about DV. She sort of ignored that. Now, it's been alleged that Sony kind of came down with that directive, but at the same time, Justin Baldoni didn't follow that directive, so I do question that. But she claimed this was more of a rom-com, and then people got into it and they're like, oh my gosh, this is not a rom-com. And, it had some rom-com elements, and then it did the switcheroo, and they're like, oh. So that didn't play super well. And she answered questions kind of poorly, and she was trying to be like, I think funny, but it came off really badly. And like she's trying to do her husband's level of sarcasm, but she can't pull it off quite as well. So anyways, everything has sort of died down. And her reputation was not great after the film. And because the thing is with the new media, and I need to do a whole video on this. I meant to do this yesterday to get time, and then I was going to do a shorter video about Abigail, and then I get time either. But the whole general thing is that the media landscape has massively changed. This impacts Harry and Meghan too. So if you make one mistake, guess what? If there's a thread people can pull, they'll pull it. So they start unraveling every single thing you've done. And you might think, oh, you can survive that. But in reality, maybe you can't. Maybe you can't. Maybe there's, you really messed up. Maybe you really, really messed up. And I think when it comes to the case of Blake, I think she truly blamed Baldoni for her bad press when it was really her fault. And so she's suing him to try to ameliorate that. But I think she's just made everything worse because sometimes silence is golden. Silence is the best way. She probably would have survived it better if she had just shut up and waited like 6 months to a year to then reemerge into the scene. And maybe people would have forgotten about it at that point and maybe subtly changed her behavior. And then maybe, just maybe, things would have gone better. But no, she's doubled down and suing the guy over it. And he's countersuing her and her husband for basically their entire net worth. And she's like made sort of like she's demanding they throw out his case. She's demanding she doesn't want to be interviewed by his lawyer. Like she is doing all these crazy things. I'm like, honey, you started this. And what I think irritates me and other people is that she slandered him totally in the press. And then he's trying to fight back and she's trying to gag him for it. And then she's claiming victim status. So like, no, you started this. He wants to defend himself. Like you have to live with that. You started it. So anyways, but the whole new media landscape thing is a bigger story that I think is worth telling. So Shaz says they did what Amber Heard did to Johnny Depp. Yeah, a little bit. Sharon says, I'm so horrible for Baldoni. Yeah, exactly. Girl says, I would love to see the pearl choker with the Queen Mother's gifted sapphire brooch that Diana wore. Yeah, me too. Me too. So Kate or Catherine, because I know some people get mad when you call her Kate, but like, I'm sure that's probably never going to go away. But anyways, when it comes to Catherine, I don't think she's particularly interested in the big pieces of jewelry. I think she's maybe a little bit intimidated by them. You almost get a sense sometimes that she's one of those girls that ends up thinking to herself every once in a while when she's on a royal engagement, how the heck did I get here? Like, you think, and so she's not, I don't think, interested in the super big jewels. And there's a part of me that's like, oh, because I love that, Maxima sort of loves the bling. And although Maxima doesn't get it right all the time, she does love the bling. And so she brings out the bling, which I love. So Evelyn says hello from Massachusetts, snowy Massachusetts. Asma says Harry never had a Diana's ring. Yes. Allegedly. Gretchen said, in the US to sue for libel, you have to show malice and actual damage. Saying someone invaded your privacy or not liking the story isn't enough. Not a lawyer, just play one on TV. Yes. Yeah. You said it better than I could, Gretchen, because I was trying to explain it earlier and I knew I wasn't quite getting it right. But yeah, you have to like show real damage and you have to show malice. And so it's like somebody just stating their opinion. They're allowed to have their opinion. They're allowed to have their opinion. I'm just sharing you guys my opinion on Harry and Meghan. You can take it, you can leave it. If they end up being successful, good for them. But at the same time, too, I see a lot of issues. And so it's like, I'm like, it's good to highlight them because some people in the media don't. And so it's good to have these sort of conversations. And especially as the media has, quite frankly, fallen asleep on the job, it falls to other people to highlight things. Disfan says, I saw an article from The Guardian talking about how Princess Beatrice has chosen to protect her newborn child just like Meghan did, but they praised Meghan for taking a stance against protocol. Yeah, so I don't always like the games of showing the kids and yet not showing the kids. I think that's kind of dumb. There's somebody who I follow on social media, not because I'm like all that invested, but just curious to keep up with some people. Anyways, and she tells you pretty much everything about her children, but won't show their face. Like, I mean, I bet you could figure out where they go to school, what their favorite activities are, where they were at these particular times and stuff like that, but she won't show their faces. And I'm like, okay, so you really aren't quite invading their privacy publicly. You're talking all about them, all about their interests and everything, but you won't show their face. So at the end of the day, are you really keeping their privacy? I would argue probably not. Even if they don't see your face, they could probably figure out who they are because you share their names and everything. So I'm like, what's the point? And so I'm not fond of the games of showing your kids and not showing your kids. I think it becomes a little silly. It becomes a little silly. Now, I will be fair to Eugenie. She sort of did the same thing too. But when she went to official events, like you could see her kids. And it's like, that's fine. Like, you're not, let's say, over publicizing them on your social media. But if a photographer is there at an event and you're there with your kid, you're like not like being squirrely about it. So, anyways. We have Eyes of Texas from Houston. We got Gretchen the second. Hi, everyone from sunny Philadelphia. We had Kumari. Hi, darling, I guess. Deborah said Candace Owens is doing a deep dive on Blake Ryan stuff, and she indicated that Taylor Swift helped get the article into the New York Times. Yeah, I think the New York Times is probably going to be one of the, that's case is going to get worse for them, I think. And that's a failure of journalism there. You see, they could have done a deeper dive into what Blake was telling them, but they didn't. P and Nucy says, have you tried sweet potato treats for Pippa? I haven't, but I do know she likes sweet potatoes. Janice says, I think Invictus is tanky and Harry is using musical guests to change the focus to mental health to save Invictus instead of not using the games as a cash grab. Yeah, I would probably agree with that a little bit. Archdeacon the cat says, my cat needs moral support to eat his food. After I go to sleep, the Archdeacon comes in, stares at me, meows, and waits for me to get out of bed to come with me to watch him eat. Yeah, she's like I'm upstairs and she's whining at me. And I'm like, why are you whining at me? And it used to be I would come down sometimes and give her a bone. But sometimes she's like at her bowl looking at me. And I was like, okay, so I need to stand here while you eat? I don't understand. It is cute though. Maisie says, afternoon from cold Bodwin Moore, Cornwall. Why, thank you. Rich says, how cute. She needs mom to accompany her while she dines. Yes. Sharon says, dried yams from my dog. Aw. Caroline says, moral support to eat her dinner. Too funny. Yeah, she needs a moral support. I don't know why. It's a newer behavior. Carol says, do you see Home Office using the video of William walking the train station in Peel's case against Harry, or is it like us is about the decisions reached? Thank you. I would imagine he would. Like, I think the Home Office has an excellent case against Harry. I just think he's deluded. Lizzie says, hey, some of us like to wear rings. Like, there's nothing wrong with wearing rings. I just think that for some reason, to me, it just always strikes me that Meghan needs to have like 12 rings on at any given time. All of them need to be at least $1,000 for her to feel like it's worth it, I guess. Team Awesome says, is he getting deported? We don't know yet, but there's a lot of deportation going around, so he may get wrapped up in some of that. Kumari says hate is a strong word, but I really hate Meghan. Yeah, people don't like her. Ritz says, cracks me up when you say trinket. Yeah, it's like trinket, but like expensive trinkets. That's my thing. Evelyn says Meghan is just tacky. Yeah, a lot of people agree with that. Deborah says Archdeacon is my dog. My dog is the same. Aw. Anna says a flurrying in Boston. Nice. Disfan says, what are your thoughts? And should Meghan and Harry have followed the Princess Margaret route by allowing their children to grow up in the public eye if they were still in the UK? Well, they don't have to necessarily grow up in the public eye, but they would go to public events. Like, even the royals and other families, like, they go to the public events. You see the kids. And you could argue that maybe, like, and none of it's bad. It's all very controlled. It's not invasive. They're not chasing the kids. Like, Meghan's ridiculous notion that people would be following her into the school is just flat out, frankly, wrong. It was a lie. And she knew it at the time. She had to have known. Catherine and William take their kids to school and have no problems unless there's a big news story. So it's not like they're living public lives, but would they be seen publicly from time to time enjoying family events and those sorts of things? Yes. Would Archie, probably looking back as an adult, may think, I would have rather spent my 4th birthday on the balcony of Buckingham Palace watching my grandfather at his coronation, or was it better to be in a bouncy house in my garden with all my friends, or the friends that my mom allows me to have that fit in with her specific social status and like meet all her social criterias and everything, like I do every week? I like, not that they would be living public lives, but would they be seen publicly? Yes. Coastal Angel says, did you see Meghan leak? She was a special guest at the Carrie birthday. In a blink, you'll miss her video. Yeah. Oh, man. Asima says Meghan has no jewelry taste. I really don't think she does have a great jewelry taste, to be quite honest. It just seems like there's a lot of it, and a lot of it is small but very expensive. And she has a lot of it. I mean, think she was like going fisticuffs at Eugenie's wedding because she had like 4 rings and they were all like massive and expensive. And I'm like, what the heck? I just remember thinking that I was like, wow, she's spending a lot of money on jewelry. Like she has to have new jewelry almost all the time. Like you rarely see her repeat jewelry. She's wearing the same stuff all the freaking time. Maisie says, just to say the taxpayers in the UK don't want to pay for Meghan's security. Yeah, they don't. Rit says, how insulting and humiliating to her husband. How many times she has had her engagement ring changed. She could not care less about him. Awful. Yeah, I don't think she cares. Annie says, hello and good morning from Corpus Christi. Tammy says, morning all from Niagara Falls. Pray for Canada as we deal with the rogue government. Yeah, because he officially resigned, yet still is kind of in power. We have old school millennial from Florida. Asma says, I have no sympathy for Princess Margaret. I mean, I do her, but me too. Isa Texas says, a normal person will be incredibly embarrassed by being mocked, but Meghan brushes it under the carpet as if it never happened. Agreed. She probably does it, but I think it does hurt. I think it does hurt because these are the people she wants so badly to be accepted by. And they don't. Ritz says, just cracks me up each time they show a fake smile with for love ad. Love Meghan eyes. Fake, fake, fake. Yep. Yep. Natalie says, good morning, Brittany, Miss Pippa, and everyone. Meghan's proposed book deal of a post-divorce. It reminds me of O.J. Simpson, If I Did It. Yeah, that was crazy when that came out. I remember that case a lot, quite a bit. They actually announced the verdict over the loudspeaker of my elementary school. I kid you not. I was in Southern California, though, so it made sense in some ways. But yeah, over the loudspeaker of my elementary school. I was in PE at the time. I remember exactly where I was in my on the school campus outside. I remember exactly where I was. Caroline says, my cat Marley is sitting here eyeballing me, waiting for me to roll for my yogurt I'm eating. Soon as I open a yogurt, she'll come running from anywhere in the house. She is crazed for yogurt. Pippa loves bones. She loves the bones. Cheryl says, on the farm visit, William said Harry's doing poorly, but he's better now. It was muffled. The Sussex squad says, means Harry has made up with Harry. Maybe a different Harry, just FYI. Yeah, different Harry. There are several Harrys in the UK, so it's not just Harry. Evelyn says, I've had the same diamond for 45 years. I must admit, I changed the side gems. I've had sapphires, and now they are emeralds. Never change the diamond, though. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong, I don't think, really, with changing the ring, but it's as often as she has within such a short period, and like changing every single thing about that ring. Like she had that ring completely and utterly melted down and redesigned. And I just think she hates it. So Team Awesome says Kate's dimples are really so cute. They are very cute. They are very cute. Isa Texas says, I love Catherine's shoes. I have a pair of Russell and Bromley as well. I do not, but I did get a new pair. The people on the live stream yesterday or Thursday saw me open the box because I'm like, I gotta open the box. But I was almost a little bit miffed because the website now it's an additional 30% off sale, which is pretty sweet. Carol says, I love how Catherine's mixes up high street and luxury brands. She does. Peggy Spungen says, good morning from beautiful but cold Michigan. We got Sir Philip here from Germany. Guten Tag from Deutschland. Team Awesome. Can't wait for Charlotte to grow up. Yes. And here's the eternal truth about royalty, too. As soon as the Wales' kids become of age, Harry and Meghan will be a fart in the wind. That's the way worlds work. And that's the way Hollywood works too. Like young up although it's a little bit different because in Hollywood, well, no, it's actually similar. So, in Hollywood, you can be the young hot thing, but if you can't act, once you reach a certain age, you sort of disappear because there's nothing else for you to do. You get bit parts here and there, but your career kind of fractures. But the ones who are truly talented, they go on to, especially in their older years, sometimes have very prestigious careers. They start getting better roles. They get to show off their acting chops a bit more. And so Harry and Meghan are sort of in the untalented actor category, which fitting because Meghan, I feel like, is a very untalented actress. So yes, you have a role in the beginning, but unless you endear yourself, unless you're truly great at what you do, You sort of become a fart in the wind because somebody else goes in and takes your spot. And Harry, I think, could have been one of the well-respected actors to go way into the future, but he decided that it was more important to follow his wife's dreams of Hollywood than it was to support his family. And so, yeah. We got Debbie from Louisiana. We got Shaz says, it looks like Meghan has changed her engagement ring 4 times. So much for her loving it. She made it look like her ring from Trevor. Yeah. Pure Jean says, isn't there some scandal associated with that pinky ring? Wasn't the man who gifted to her accused of having the journalist murdered or something? Yes. It is it's mostly the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia. It might have been something they gave him. I don't think that was ever totally confirmed. Allison Yager says the pinky ring is pretentious and a throwback to the early 90s, which makes sense because Meghan is stuck. Those kind of things. We got Ruth here from Kalamazoo. We got Maureen Griffin. The word for huge jewelry used to be gauche. Yeah, I think it's gauche. That's how you pronounce it. Carol says Meghan can hustle but cannot follow her promises with her actions. Yes. And I feel like I do that bit too sometimes, guys. I promise you things and I can't always deliver. But I'm also trying to run 12 things all by myself. So I work every day of the week. That's not an exaggeration, really. I rarely take time off. I actually was able to actually take a little bit of a break last week because my inauguration fashion video was doing so incredibly well that I was able to take a little bit of a much needed break, but that is few and far between. So I will figure out at some point maybe how to take an actual vacation, guys. I haven't really taken a full on I do nothing vacation in 2 or 3 years now. Every vacation I go to, I bring my camera, I bring my computer, I edit and film videos. Every single vacation. Even when I go to Europe, they're like, "Oh, you're going on vacation." Not really. Not really. No, no. I can't think. But I mean, I enjoy it, so it's not like I don't enjoy it, and that's why I still do it. But I've got to figure out, guys, how to manage everything a bit better. So, anyways, Ritz says, even with how people feel about them, nobody ever tells them no whenever they appear somewhere. Everyone is scared to offend them because they are tied to the RF. That's kind of the thing. And Hollywood too, you never know when somebody's going to be useful. So you don't want to totally take somebody off because like, oh, they might be useful. We have Cindy here. Leslie says she hasn't gotten her real stuff. She does not. Annie Bellino says, love your show, Brittany, from Corpus Christi in deep South Texas, surrounded by my 6 chihuahuas and my calico cat, Chloe, and even my parrot Piper sitting on my shoulders. They all get along splendidly. That is awesome. That is awesome. Carmen says, finally made it. Good morning, everyone. Chatty Cathy says, Brittany, do you think the kids will show up at Invictus this year? I'm doubtful. They did sort of promise that, didn't they? Last time that Archie and Lily are starting to learn to ski or something. So we might see them. Asma says, Meghan does not take advice. So that's the difference now. Yeah, she doesn't take advice. Caroline says, when is Invictus? Get ready for the vets to be ignored and it all to be the Harkle show. Disgusting. Yeah, early starts February 8th or something. Oh, okay. Chatty Cathy said you pronounced the name well. It's a Native American name. I'm not going to try again because my phonetics is not actually very good. Water says, do you think Meghan will show off the kids to try and get attention? At some point, yes. Yeah. Joseph says, hello, Royal News. I wish there was more news to be heard. You guys are the light of the show and mind attracting its bigger audience. Fan, dear Michelle Babbitt, #1. Do not know. So thank you. Isa Texas says, I can't tell you the name of the one athlete participating in Invictus. That's a shame. No, exactly. I don't know any of them. And that's part of the problem. But also, yeah, some of it. Oh, Chatty Cathy says, you're fantastic on Dan's show. Why, thank you. Daniel Q says, what's the pinky ring that Charles is wearing? So that's a signet ring. I don't like those either, to be quite honest. But it's more of a traditional English upper aristocracy type thing. And they're not diamonds. They're just a solid gold ring. And it has a little bit of it like a signet or something in the center. So let's see. So, and I think because his hands are quite swollen too, it's not that bad. But here is Charles's signet ring. So he wears that, and underneath that is actually his wedding ring, believe it or not. So he has worn that for a long time. But I think it that's the other phone. It's not quite as it doesn't seem to fall very much. It is kind of big, but I think because he doesn't have the stone, it works a bit better. Water says, "Do you think Lady Louise will be a minor working royal like her father before her and his wife took over for Meghan and Harry?" Probably not. Probably not. Gaming Grandma says, "Unless Netflix gets less woke, I will never be a subscriber." So, I mean, the reality is everything will be woke to a certain extent, but I mean, if you don't want to subscribe to Netflix, that's totally fine. Pulong says Brian Murphy. That's what I was thinking. I was so close. I feel like my brain sometimes doesn't work as well because it's like I went to a small group with my church and I couldn't remember the names of people right next to me. And I was like, I know your names, but I can't think of them at the moment. So I had to look it up on Facebook. Yeah, very embarrassing. I'm so sorry, guys. Red says you could tell during the engagement interview she was coaching him on what to say through her facial expressions. The disdain for that ring was so obvious. Yeah, I think she hated that ring. Maureen says Megan won't be ever satisfied because she wants Catherine's ring. That I would not be surprised by. Yeah, and part of it comes to Harry rushed the engagement because she threatened to leave him. Yeah, I think so. I think so. Cindy says, I agree. Most men know what their partner likes. Yeah, or they don't know them that well and don't know what exactly she likes. But I would prefer because I have strong opinions on things that at least like kind of at least somewhat know what I would like rather than buying something that I may not like. But not that I won't know want to know exactly what it is, but I kind of want to know what it's supposed to look like. Or yeah, I don't definitely don't want a pear-shaped ring, probably. That's probably not my or I've never been a big fan of rounds either. More cushion is probably my personal preference. Missy says that Pippa Middleton's engagement ring was beautiful and very unique, very unique. Rit says she can run in high heels, but I can't, Your Royal Highness. Yes. Oh my gosh, guys. So I got a new pair of shoes, and they are actually one of Catherine's most worn pair of shoes. And I tried them on, and I was like, oh man, I have such a hard time with heels. And I know I complain about this, but I feel like my heels must be really narrow or something because even if I get a bigger size, like you're supposed to, because your feet swell, my feet constantly pop out of them. And so I can't walk in them because they're so unstable, like, especially if they're above a certain height, they're so unstable because my heel's constantly popping out that I can't walk in them. So even if I put the little heel grabber things in there, it still doesn't really help. And so I have to go in there and I was like, I have to get ones that are I should probably get a 7.5, but I get a 7. So they're a little tight, but at the same time, I feel more stable because they stay on my feet. So anyways, I have complicated feelings. Alana says, I agree 100%, Brittany. People who go about manifesting annoy me. Cue giant eye roll. Yes, I just, oh. Okay. Yeah. I can't stand that. No offense to anyone if that's your thing. I just don't like gobbledygook like that. It's like I was saying they're going, I'm going to manifest getting that Cartier ring I want. I'm like, well, just work hard for it and save and you can afford it. Like that's the way you do it. Just don't go think like people have like manifest boards or something. I think it's a specific word because I feel like manifest is like they want to like they think if they focus on it and like it'll happen. But I understand to me what would be beneficial is to have a goal board. It's like, okay, so these are the goals I want to hit. This is something that I find inspiring that maybe I want to, bring into my life or something that inspires me fashion wise or something like that. To me, that makes sense. Maybe it's a word they use. I don't know, or like the emphasis behind it that's more new agey that I find particularly. But yeah, I don't really like it. Bobby Estrella says, "Hi, all Brittany. I love the Tropic Thunder analogy. Describes Megan perfectly. Yeah, I'm a dude playing a dude just disguised as another dude. That is actually one of my favorite movies, and I finally bought it on iTunes because I have it on DVD. But you don't bust out your DVD player much. And when I was traveling in Europe, I think I watched that movie 2 or 3 times because I was like, oh, this is what movies used to be like. They used to be good and clever and funny. What the heck happened? Guy Carroll says Megan has bad timing every single time. Yes. Sue Cat Mom says Toronto is so cold, but the snow is absolutely beautiful. I love it. God bless you, Brittany. You're such a beautiful soul. Why, thank you. Why, thank you. Gretchen the first says, I wonder how much that 1.6 million is bought and paid for from bot and fake accounts. I would argue some of it probably is, to be quite honest, is because that is a very, very common thing to do. Later says, does Anna Lucia make a 20 karat lab diamond? I don't think so. Don't think so, but that would be funny though. That would be entertaining. Oh, Francis, hey Francis, I'm late to join. Hello from Austin, Texas. Well, hello, Francis. I hope you and your husband are doing super well. Sorry, guys, I just realized my shirt was writing up there. All right. Laura says Meghan's ring always looks subpar. She's a narcissist, a malcontent, but the ring itself, diamond itself, seems so cloudy. It never looks right. You think Harry would have spurged for a perfect one. Yeah, I would agree. It's not. It's honestly, I was underimpressed by it too. I was very underwhelmed. And Harry's like, I designed it, and I was like, really? It's like 3 stones, dude. That's not much of a design there. I was underwhelmed, and I bet you Meghan was probably super duper overwhelmed because she had this really, I think, huge vision of what monarchy is. And Laner said, do people still watch the Oscars? The answer is mostly no. Chatty Cathy says, true manifestation, blood, sweat, and tears. Blood, sweat, and tears. Action with intention. Yes, I agree. I agree. Don't just sit there thinking if you think about it enough, it'll just happen for you. That's not life. That's not life. Rafaela Riccardi says, Meghan can't tell the difference between seducing a man and entertaining her public. That is true. That's good. Cindy says, I heard that all the veterans, whether participating or attending, have to pay their own over exorbitant fees. I mean, I would hope those would be covered by their various governments. So, but maybe friends and family, probably not. Zendane says, Denmark on my way to work, but sending woof woofs from Winston and Watson Cavaliers and from Meow from Meow from Nevis. Aw, from Denmark. Oh, I want to get back to Denmark. I really enjoyed Denmark. I was only there a day. Need to go back. P. Regine says, can you imagine throwing a birthday celebration, beautiful decorations, delicious food, good conversation with friends, and then having Meghan show up? Party ruined. Yeah. Creative Chaosify says, sorry, Brittany, I just joined. Did you mention Denmark Spares joining at Harry at Invictus to commemorate together? I did talk about it briefly, probably later, because you said it later. So yeah, I think they're probably commiserating over their loss. Yeah. The Wrong Shoe says, did you notice the royal reporter Jack Royston treated the announcement of the king's new granddaughter? I'm embarrassed for him. Yeah, that was pretty bad. That was pretty bad. And then he's still calling the baby a cousin to Prince George. And like, he's not really Prince George's cousin. She's Prince George's like second cousin or something. Shay Green says, I read a comment somewhere else that if everyone turned their backs literally to Meghan and Harry when they arrive in Canada for Invictus instead of Boo, it would be so much more effective. True. But like it's hard because I understand the veterans love the games. I get that. So it's like they can't totally turn their backs on Harry and Meghan because Harry and Meghan are the reason the games exist and are there. So if they took the games away from them, would they be as much? I don't know. Ah, the Wrong Shoes. 1.5 thousand watching and less than 500 likes. 2 and 3 of you need to hit that like button. I mean, you don't have to. If you want to, that's fine. But yeah. Oh, Skippy D Mouse says the horse girl is Katie Van Skyle. A new foal was born last night. She says, "Oh, it's so cute. It's so cute. I love horses. I love horses. I always wanted a horse. Now should never be back on a horse. So like, yeah, not gonna happen for me. But I loved horses as a kid. Wanted a horse. Never got a horse. Then got bucked off with a horse. So yeah, broke my wrist. Had to have surgery in Hawaii. So no." I know. Mary says when Meghan finally dumps Harry and takes the kids, he's going to realize that he betrayed his family, friends, military, and country for a sociopathic bitch, and he'll do himself. I hope that no, I don't hope that happens to him at all. But I think at some point he will realize that yeah, he was taken for a ride, and I'm sure he does know some of that already. That some of the things she told him might not have 100% been the truth, and I think he will be. It'll be hard. It'll be hard. I don't envy him there. JR says, do you think that Meghan and Harry's claims of being bullied have now become a reality due to their past behaviors? I don't think so. I don't think so. Because they're not being bullied. They're being mocked. Like to me, Because I see what the Sussex Squad does to people, and, like, they call them names and everything. What John Mulaney basically did was say, "Hey, Netflix overpaid Harry and Meghan for subpar work. The 2 of them can't have no plan, don't know what they're doing, and everything's a mess." That's essentially what he said. That's not bullying, that's just calling out the truth, in my opinion. So, yeah. Jill says, "Is Harry in totally in danger in charge of the Invictus Games? Isn't there someone behind the scenes who has more power to make decisions, focusing on the veterans? This isn't rocket science." I think he has a good deal of influence, but I think they're also aware, at least when it comes to, I think, the Invictus, that they don't have as much. I don't know if it's platform or interest is the right word, but I think they're sort of desperate to fulfill Harry's vision, but at the same time, I think some of hubris is ruling them too, and they're pushing through things too much. Water says, though I don't like Harry, I do believe he has major depression and not getting the correct help. I hope that changed. Yeah, I hope he gets the correct help. Prince of Peace says, "Hello, Brittany. I'm curious if you read any books by Will Durant." I have not. I have not. Grisham the First says, "Could Catherine agree to do a Vogue cover in exchange for a donation to a charity, or would that be somehow a breach of protocol?" Seems like that would be a kind of a win-win. So she doesn't even have to accept a fee for doing Vogue, to be quite honest. She can just do Vogue. I actually think Vogue would actually be a really cool thing to do, especially if there was a picture where you could see a bit of her port scar or something. I think that would be really cool and powerful, to be quite honest. And maybe that takes her a bit of time to get there. But I think there's power in this. Again, I love that Eugenie showed off her scoliosis scar. I think that's really cool. I think there's something cool in that to take away maybe some of the stigma, that if you see somebody with a scar like that, you might know what they've experienced, and you might, have a different perspective of that particular person. I think there's a lot of power there, and to make something like that sort of normal, because a lot of people go through cancer. So I think that would be super duper cool, but not saying that she has to, not saying, I mean, she doesn't have to do anything. But yeah, I don't think she would take money for it, but I do think she would probably, it'd probably be like a donation or something. Aw, tea time with Mima says, "Thank you so much, Brittany, for your brightening my morning. Missing my fur babies a lot today. First time in 48 years without any fur babies. I'm so sorry. Tea time with Mima. Oh, I'm so sorry for your loss. That's always so hard. So hard. I still miss our Maverick, our big, our big Mr. Patriarch man. So sweet. So sweet. So I'm very sorry for your loss. I know that's got to be hard. Sir Squirrels a lot says Harry states he had never had the ring. That was a Paul Burrell story to get attention from the media because he knew the boys wouldn't comment. Yeah, there's a lot of, at least some misinformation around the royals. Meep says, "I liked when Harry was explaining the engagement ring and Meghan was looking for two diamonds for the two diamonds on, on different sides." Yeah, because they were very big diamonds, and she's like, "Oh, they were for my mom. Oh, oh," like, you could just see her disappointment. She was really disappointed, I think. Elle says, "How do you think the history will define Harry and Meghan?" They might not even factor in much, but they might be a example of, um, n hubris gone wrong, I guess. Gretchen the First says, "I read somewhere that Catherine not wearing her engagement ring during the treatment was partially about the large stones of hers being somewhat unsterile." Yes. So she did still wear it when she went to the hospice place. So it might depend on the particular situation, but we will see those eternity bands more, I think, in particular situations and stuff, or maybe when she's out doing things. So I think that was for her much more of what she was wearing when she was recovering last year and getting treatment. So I'm glad we might see more of that. Olga says, "Good morning from the Pacific Northwest. Glad to catch the live broadcast." Josephine says, "Hi, Brittany. It's so lovely to see you. Lovely to see you too." We have Alana from snowy Massachusetts. There is snow in Massachusetts, I guess, because that is what everybody's saying. Rich says, "My German Shepherd loved oranges. I miss my baby pup. Oh." Sheriff in Tennessee says, "I think doing Vogue would be okay if the magazine focused on the work of Early Childhood Initiative and from the Royal Foundation. This would show Catherine is more about just a fashion model." Yes. Although I will say, always when it comes to royals, like, fashion is a huge part of it. It just is, because that is what we see and what we sort of gravitate to. But if you can if you can shift it to more talking about, her work and everything, I think that'd be good. Loretta says, I had to stay with my cat Sasha when he ate. If I had to leave the room, he would grab a mouthful of food and follow. That's hilarious. Oh, dogs are so funny. Man, dogs and cats are so funny. Rit says her pretentiousness is so silly and ridiculous. It is. Carol says, Bogart, my miniature schnauzer, my fur baby, will bark when he needs to be fed and will not eat when anyone is in the kitchen. Yeah, for some reason, Pippa, she's like barking and whining at me, and I come down and she's at the bowl and she like kind of smiles at me. And then she's like, can I eat? And I was like, yes, it's been there the entire time. Like, what are you waiting for? Deborah says, my cat not only needs moral support to eat, but I have to pet her. That's funny. So Water says Eugenie was very close to Harry growing up, and I think she tried to keep some type of bridge for her grandparents, but at the Queen's funeral, you could tell she was done with them and has now cut ties. Yeah, I think last time they were seen with them was a while ago, and so I don't think they're that close. Cuggy says that Meghan would be calling the Paps and telling them she would drop off the kids at school. Yeah, probably. Carol says the in-laws have changed due to Princess Diana's pass away. I remember Prince Charles pushing for them at the time. Exactly. There's been a wild change and shift in how royals are covered and stuff. Gretchen the First says Harry and Meghan could have handled their kids like Sophie and Edward or Catherine and William, let them have their privacy, and then when they are old enough, choose how much they want to be seen and shared. Exactly. Asma says both Harry and Eugenie have houses in Portugal. That is true. So I don't think that's probably his closest relationship, but I don't think they're super close. It's Mies as M says, I have to come to believe she may be a pathological liar. Could be. Alana says her pinky ring is my least favorite. Yeah, I just find it so ridiculous. Carol says there's a story about his name. We rescued him. He was a mix with Maltese, so we named him after Humphrey Bogart in the Maltese Falcon. Then we start realizing he is a miniature schnauzer. Aw. Cindy says, I don't believe Meghan has any children. That's why she keeps them so private. I mean, I think she does. I just think she wants to play games because that is her. Asma says, I don't like Princess Margaret because she wanted her titles and her place in the line of succession more than she wanted Peter Townsend. I mean, you could say yes, but it was also just a different time and stuff. So was it what it was? Skippy Demouse says, I wonder if Harry and Meghan's friends signed NDAs to not photograph the kids. Could you imagine them suing the Hollywood elite if the kid is in the background of their pictures? I mean, their friends have released some random sort of pictures of their kids from time to time before. So I don't think Harry and Meghan are a super big fan of it, but she likes her elitist friends heck of a lot more than she likes the press or anybody else. Carol says Princess Margaret was born 10 years earlier. She could have married Peter Townsend. She made a decision to choose her royal titles, then married the man she loved. She did. Lizzie says, Brittany, I remember where I was for the Broncos chase and hoping I would be able to get home and was teaching when the verdict was read. Wow. Yeah, I actually do remember where we were when the chase was too, because we were in a stadium. I remember that. But when it comes to the verdict, I remember exactly where I was. In PE, I remember a PE teacher telling me he got away with it. I remember exactly which PE teacher it was, where exactly we were on the playground. So like I have very vivid memory of that. So I just find it very weird. Asma says in the latest letter found that Margaret would lose her place in the line of succession. She married Peter Townsend. Margaret prefers the perks. She does. Alice rants and raves. Princess Margaret was a sad person, I believe. She loved her father so much and never really recovered from his death, and no man ever compared to him for her. That's very sad. Debbie says those kids must feel suffocated within that house and property all the time. Makes you wonder about the kids they are allowed to play with and falling out with Meghan and the parents. Yeah, because like if Meghan falls out with any of the parents, like she's done. She's done. Shay said fart in the wind on brand for Meghan Markle. Yeah, a little bit. It's going to end up being like we talk about it a lot now, but sometimes some of this stuff just ends up being just an absolute fart in the wind when it comes to history. Rit says gauche. Love this word. Yes. Okay. Olga says, so happy for Princess Beatrice on her new daughter, Athena. Yes. I love the name. It's a great name. And it goes along with her grandfather's Greek heritage. NJ Clark says, I thought it was those gray chandelier earrings that were from the prince that killed the reporter. Yes, but they were part of maybe a larger suite, perhaps. So that was been the speculation. Sharon says, did the video get to 1 million yet? It has not. So it's kind of petered out at 932,000 last time I saw. It will probably get over the hump to 1 million. It just might take it a little bit. H Dog says your OJ Simpson story is incredible because I was also in middle school MPE, except we listened to the verdict over the radio. Wow. Like, I don't know why over the loudspeaker of my elementary school, over the loudspeaker. I mean, I guess maybe they were preparing for perhaps issues, but that's crazy. P Pacific says, as the first lady in 2017, Melania Trump joined Prince Harry at the Invictus Games. Very supportive. Also, Harry escorted Melania to the opening ceremony. Meghan, as a girlfriend, was relegated to cheap seats miles away. So yeah, we will see. I just don't think she'll go this time. Missy Lulu says, King Charles as Prince of Wales wore a pinky finger of the Prince of Wales feathers. Yes. Yes. PNUC says, did they use the signet ring to press in wax letters to signify who the letter was from? That could have been a possibility. That could have been a possibility way back in the day. Ms. Lafalot says, hey, Brittany, love from the UK. Why, thank you. Water says, I didn't know that King Charles had a wedding ring. Yeah, he does. He does. He wears it under his signet ring. That's kind of the style. Prince William doesn't wear a wedding ring at all. My dad hasn't worn one either in 40 plus years. He's bought himself some, but never seems to keep wearing them. All right. Rit says, I dropped my sub to Netflix years ago. Cannot be bothered as long as they continue supporting those two. Well, at some point, the money is definitely going to run out. And to be fair, they didn't give Harry and Meghan all the cash up front. But yeah. Water says, I cannot wear heels because of my back issues. I really can't wear heels because of I have broke my foot. So my left foot doesn't walk in heels as well as it should. But I keep buying them. I don't know why. Christina says, Brittany, I had the same problem with the heels and your heel popping out regardless of what you do. And they are never comfortable. Yeah, I think you must have to have like very specific feet or something because mine just don't. I'm going to keep trying, y'all, but they just don't. It's going to be one of those things where I wear them for like 5 minutes and then never again. Because I just don't think. It also depends too if you have. I have like really high arches, which means you're a little bit more unstable and stuff. So Alice Ransom raves. I have stupidly high insteps, so no matter what heel I wear, they all kill my feet. Yeah. I think Catherine actually has pretty flat feet, which probably makes it actually much easier for her to wear heels, to be quite honest. Meep says, Harry said rose gold was her favorite. Is it still rose gold? It was yellow gold. Gretchen the First says, can't wear heels, torn ligaments in one of my ankles as a teenager, and heels have not been good since. Oh, I love heels though. They look so pretty. But I need like a proper closet to display my heels in. Right now, they mostly sit in the boxes, although they would mostly sit on the shelves if I actually displayed them. Caroline says, ever since I had to wear work boots for work, I can't wear heels anymore. Within a half hour, I'm like, where are my flats? I always bring my flats too. I always bring my flats. Court Watch Australia says Harry and Invictus could have chosen 3 or 4 Invictus athletes to be hosts of the Invictus, and they could have do media morning shows, talk shows, and interviews with athletes that would have helped refocus on the veterans. Yeah, because I haven't really even seen much a strong effort to get the veterans out there. Shah says Harry will never leave Meghan because he's stubborn arse and doesn't want people to be right about his marriage. That will fuel a lot of it. It might be more like she leaves him. Poetry Chick 1275 says, good morning from Pennsylvania. Thank you, Brittany, for the quality content. You are really rekindled my interest in royalty. Why, thank you. I'm so glad. I love royals. They're so fun. Water says, Meghan will be the one to leave him when they write a book about how they are of public and press for the reasons for the divorce. Probably. Gretchen the First says, Brittany, your inauguration fast video was awesome. If you apply for a White House press credential, you should send a link to it and mention how many hits it has, bigger reach than a lot of others on YouTube. Yeah, I actually did do all those things. So I officially did, although I'm almost wondering if I should submit 2, but I don't really want to. I mean, I need to utilize other maybe avenues as well. But the White House has said they will have a seat for smaller media outlets. So I did officially apply. I did say, like, I want to cover anything related to royals at the White House, which I do. And then I told them about I wouldn't mind covering the First Lady's fashion. And I mentioned the video that has over 1 million views and that she'll be featuring more in some of those videos because I do love Melania's fashion. I hate how sometimes people twist that into politics because it isn't, but she looks great. Fashion is fashion. Regardless, and good fashion is good fashion. It just is. Mademoiselle Rhapsody says, Meghan looks so sad at her ring during that interview. Love your advice to men to find out what she likes before springing the ring. Yeah. Because like what you don't really want to do is like pull down the event by her going, I love you and I want to marry you, but also I hate the ring. I mean, I hope that doesn't really happen to anybody. I really do. But like, at least for me, like I did a whole report on like the Cullinan diamond when I was in high school. I have like not like super duper strong, but I would know what I don't want. So Ocean Gal says, Court Watch Australia sounds like a good idea. Yes. MJ Clark says, as a jewelry lover, my first engagement ring was what I wanted, but one of those side stones had a very dark coloring and it drove me crazy. We changed it once. We've been married for 30 years. Yeah. Sometimes it's like, you just need to change a little bit of something to really make it true. Oh, Trina, hey, Canadians will not pay the 5-star hotel room. Government said no. Good. Yeah, like, but then it's like, where is all Invictus's money going? Like, Australia has paid a ton. So, yeah. Christian said, do you know the weight of Catherine's ring? Seems like it could be a lot for everyday wear. I do not. I don't have a ring that big. Tea Time with Mima says, thanks everyone for the love. I appreciate it. You are welcome. Sir Squirrels a lot says, Brittany is King Frederick of Denmark. I heard he was a big cheater. Did he stop after he got caught last time? Love Mary. She seems like Catherine grown into that role. So I haven't heard like a ton in regards to that, but I will say I have heard rumblings before, but it was on a random blog that doesn't really like Mary. So take that for what you will. But it was just an incredibly stupid move from him at the time. It was. Regardless of if a friend was supposed to be them with her or not, he should have had better discretion there, and he did not. So it just doesn't look great. Sheriff from Tennessee says, Brittany, the explanation of the Scottish clothing would be interesting to Americans. To those of us who have no Scottish history, how did the different plaids develop in history? Like we learned a little bit of this on the Scotland trip. They're actually sort of more of a new phenomenon, like the different colors and stuff. So yeah. Wendy Van Rokel says, are the colors in the plaid taken from the floral and fauna of the area, woven differently in hunting tweeds for camouflage? That I do not know. Rose says, the art of wearing heels is high as one day and flats the next. Yeah. Oki Gigi says, the only heels I wear are the wedges and they work for me. I do like wedges. And I do have some. Grace says, hi, Brittany. Will you cover the Habsburgs? Probably not much, unless there's a sort of a big news story. But at some point, I'd love to do more of the history. And Jay Clark says, how wonderful would it be if you were able to interview Melania Trump in person or over Skype? Her fashion is amazing. It is. Gretchen the First says, Brittany, did you see Melania Trump's new official portrait? Vogue trashed it on the basis of politics, but I thought she looked amazing and strong and would love more videos about her fashion. Yes, I thought she was projecting an image of strength and stuff, and like that they poo-pooed it. I'm like, you are only poo-pooing it because of who she's married to. You would be salivating all over it if she was Michelle Obama. Give me a break. I hate that kind of stuff. Is like, her fashion's good. Her fashion's fantastic. Not everybody's fashion in politics is. And so her being there is fun because I get to look at her fashion. I'm like, that's fun to me. Marky says, Isaac Mizrahi says, Melania is styled and not stylish. Thoughts? Well, part of being stylish is knowing how to be styled well. And she does have a stylist who helps style her, so she looks stylish. Alana says, one of my favorite classes in college was on the Habsburgs, Empress CC. Yes. Jones G says, Catherine Sapphire is 12 carats surrounded by a few carats of diamonds. It would be heavy. I had a slightly larger version and turned into a necklace. Oh, wow. Rich says, Melania handles those sky-high heels like a boss. Yeah, she does. And she used to walk in this grass in them. And I was just like, how are you walking in those Socates? I actually need to get a pair of like the really tall Socates and for like a Melania fashion video and just like, I need to get a used pair though, because I will not pay full price for them because they are unwalkable for most people. Carol says, I love Melania Ivanka's fashion as it has royal and old Hollywood influences. It does. Loretta says, I followed her fashion during the first term too. Michelle wore great clothes used designers from Chicago. I didn't follow Michelle's clothes too closely, but love fashion. Love fashion. All right. And we got Diane says, love this live. Everyone have a great day. Yes, we will go ahead and wrap it up here in a second. So, Dog Lover says Hollywood celebs should have stuck to what they were good at, stayed off social media with their opinions. That is exactly right. Because as it turns out, we don't really want their opinions. So, guys, and at least realize they are no smarter in life than anyone else. They are not. In fact, they are worse. They're worse. NJ Clark says Ivanka has great fashion sense, and I used to love her stuff. She used to sell. I have a pair of shoes I love from her. I so wanted this pair of shoes from her line, and I didn't get them, and I really did want them. So DS, we'll just end here, said sitting here in the airport listening to RNN Live, heading to HB, California, going to visit family. Thanks for helping make the wait time go by quicker. You are so welcome, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in to this live. Thank you so much, DS. Hope you have a great time visiting your family. Hope you all have a fantastic weekend. And I shall see you guys again here very, very soon. And on the fashion video more, I'll have a big one coming out this week on the greatest tiara. So stay tuned for that one, guys. Thank you again for hanging out with me. Lizzie B gifted one Royal News Network membership. Why, thank you so much, Lizzie. I will have to share that story with you guys. A Pippa climbing in the pantry. It is hysterical, guys. It really, really is. So, guys, thank you again so much for watching, and I shall see you again very, very soon. Bye.